Tonight's edition of News from the Left, all about how the mainstream press are just so elated to be having this moment that they've been promising to their viewers for the last 5 years, 6 years. As expected, the Democrat lapdogs are all cheering on the arrest of Donald Trump. Stephen Colbert, a good little foot soldier for his authoritarian overlords, had this to say last night.
You know the old saying, first they came for the former president, and I said nothing because he is so guilty.
He's so guilty, says Colbert. Just keep doing your job, little man, and Big Brother will let you keep having your show. Clown. Up next, Alvin Bragg's star witness, convicted liar and felon Michael Cohen, gloating about his credibility. Seriously.
Let's go to the documents. I don't want anyone to take a single word of what I am saying and use that as the basis for a potential conviction. Let's go, as Warner Wolf used to say, let's take it to the video. I think right now he's beyond petrified.
He said, so I think that was from last night, and he's talking about, let's go to the documents. Well, now we've seen the documents, and even the analysts in the mainstream media are saying, well, this looks really weak. Don't be surprised, though. Michael Cohen, as we all know, is the most duplicitous person in all of Washington right now. He will literally say anything to get what he wants out of any certain situation. He is the next Michael Avenatti. He will just say anything, and of course he has plenty of credibility with the mainstream press. He's on every show because he's talking trash about Donald Trump. Of course. Up next, MSNBC analyst Jonathan Alter today said that this is exactly what the founding fathers had in mind.
I think it's really important to understand that what's happening today is very much in line with what the founders envisioned.
This is exactly what the founders had in mind. They wanted the federal government to grow so beyond control that it became its own entity. And then, in a desperate move to retain and keep that power away from any of the American people who might want to take it back and bring it back for the American people, it would go to any length to destroy a populist presidential candidate. As a matter of fact, this is exactly what the founding fathers feared the most, that the government would grow to be so powerful it would turn into a uniparty of sorts that would destroy anybody that came along and tried to take power away from it. Donald Trump's, of course, original sin in all of this was becoming the president of the United States. He didn't have the stamp yet. He hadn't kissed everybody's butt yet. He hadn't gotten all the alliances yet. He didn't know who we had to pay back. He wasn't part of this very, very, very corrupt system. And they can't allow that. And now they'll stop at nothing to keep him out of there. And that's why every single day was a hair-on-fire crisis manufactured by the media, which, of course, is in that same group with the government. The government, the media, this is all one big group. And it used to be fine. It was like, okay, we'll have a Bush these 4 years, then we'll have a Clinton these 4 years, and then, oh, okay, let's have Obama because that'll, that'll give us some kind of, make us less white guilt, I guess. But Trump came along and threw the whole wrench in the whole thing. He didn't have the alignments. He wasn't really part of any party. They couldn't let it happen, and now they have to destroy him. Up next, Russia hoaxer Peter Strzok claiming that GOP members of Congress are inciting violence for calling to defund the corrupt FBI.
New York City can do an extraordinary job locking down and securing the courthouse and the district attorney's office. That isn't going to stop somebody, particularly when you have people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jim Jordan saying we should defund the FBI. Unfortunately, I think we are going to see incidents of violence because I see nothing from the Republican Party leadership doing anything to tamp down this sort of aggrievement with local, state, and national law enforcement.
So the guy basically that engaged in the kind of behavior that could lead to revolutions in country. A guy who weaponized the most important law enforcement agency and the most powerful law enforcement agency in all the land against a political candidate is telling us that calls for defunding the FBI are so dangerous. How do you have the audacity to even talk? And who wants to talk to this guy? I mean, talk about a deep state. When you put him on television, how on earth Peter Strzok is even allowed to talk on TV is just an indication of just how far this country has fallen.